Hey there, welcome back to another weekly Wisdom for Business Leaders. Thank you for joining us here on this content. We release this content every single Monday. And what I'm doing here in 2021 going through this is I'm studying the book of Proverbs and pulling out what King Solomon said that has specific business application to us as business leaders. And I'm releasing this content every single Monday. So if you're subscribed to this, thank you. Thank you for doing that. Follow the hashtag Weekly Wisdom, so to make sure that you don't miss any of these videos. You can subscribe on YouTube, you can look us up on Instagram TV, and you can even follow it on LinkedIn. We post it at all three locations. So thank you for being here. Before we get into the content of the video today, we're going to be talking about haters from Proverb 10:12, but we'll get there in just a minute. I want to talk to you about my podcast called The Root of All Success. What I do on The Root of All Success is I interview very successful entrepreneurs. Generally speaking, they're people who have started their own companies. They've created companies that are producing over $10 million in annual revenue, and they themselves have built up a net worth of at least $5 million personally as a result of the company that they started. And that podcast episodes are about an hour long, and we go through the keys to success that these entrepreneurs have used to build their companies. And so for people like you who are entrepreneurs and business leaders, it would be a great way for you to listen and get insight on how they did what they did so that you can do it as well. So make sure you go to therootofallsuccess.com. That is therootofallsuccess.com. Or you can search on Stitcher or iTunes or Google Podcasts, any place where you can listen to podcasts. Just look up The Root of All Success and you'll find that podcast. You can listen to it there. You can also go to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/c/TheRealJasonDuncan. And you subscribe specifically to the playlist, The Root of All Success, to watch the videos. We record them at the Standard in Nashville, live and in person, and it's a beautiful location. You'll be happy to watch that and get great content about how to be successful as an entrepreneur. So let's go ahead and get on with today's content about haters. All right, so this is week 14. We're talking about the concept of haters. This comes from Proverb 10:12. Proverb 10:12 says, "Hate stirs up trouble, but love forgives all offenses." You know, hate is a weird thing. Ever since I was a little boy, I was taught that hate was bad. I was never to hate. I couldn't even hate the devil. At least that's what my mom and dad had taught me. It carries such a strong emotion that hate can cause otherwise decent, reasonable people to do crazy and uncharacteristic things that can harm those around them. Now, it's not likely that hatred in the truest sense will crop up in a workplace between coworkers. However, a similar emotion does oftentimes find itself growing like a weed in offices all across the world, and that is contempt. While hate is an opinion that someone is evil, contempt refers to kind of a judgmental attitude that someone is inferior to you. So for the sake of today's video, let's discuss what Solomon meant in this proverb, substituting the emotion of contempt for hate. So contempt, he said, stirs up trouble, but love forgives all offenses. So as I said, contempt can crop up very easily in the workplace, and as leaders, we must be vigilant to make sure that this does not happen in us. If we cannot protect against contempt in ourselves, we'll never be able to guard against it in those that we're leading. Contempt happens when our estimation of ourselves outweighs our estimation of others. Leaders must always encourage a healthy and mature perspective of the entire team that they lead and each person's ability to perform his or her job. For sure, there are going to be times when an employee simply isn't performing and corrections or dismissals are warranted. But that still doesn't excuse us to feel contempt towards the team members. These uncomfortable scenarios give us an opportunity to rise up, to lead well, and showing what true leadership looks like. I mean, think about what Solomon advised in this proverb where he says, contempt stirs up trouble, but love forgives all offenses. Think back to a time when you saw a leader hold another employee in contempt, thinking that that employee was inferior or incompetent. How did that situation play out? Did anything good happen? Probably not. Trouble was stirred up, just like Solomon warned. And on the other hand, Solomon says that a loving leader forgives all offenses. Now I want you to think back to a time when you witnessed a leader handle an incompetent employee with love and with grace. How did that play out? Probably a lot better than the former scenario. Now, of course, incompetent people need to be dealt with. They need to be trained up or replaced. But contempt, as Solomon advises, stirs up trouble. Water cooler talk begins, resentment builds, other people see it and are affected by it, and pretty soon the entire office can be dragged down by contempt. So as leaders, I challenge you to guard yourself against contempt. Be diligently aware of how easily it can crop up. Remember, love will always lead to a better outcome than contempt. I hope that's helpful to you as a business leader. I'm the real Jason Duncan, and this is Weekly Wisdom for Business Leaders. I'll see you next Monday when we come out with another video on another tip, another piece of wisdom from the book of Proverbs and how we can use it as business leaders to serve our people better, to lead our companies better. Until then, remember, Jesus is King.